Hello, happy Fibromyalgia Day, everyone. This isn't necessarily a day of celebration, but certainly a day of awareness for my fellow fibromyalgia warriors and autoimmune warriors out there. Although fibromyalgia is not technically an autoimmune disease, it is a chronic pain disorder that usually accompanies people with autoimmune disease. Specifically, in this May, month of Lupus Awareness Month, people with lupus, people with rheumatoid arthritis, I believe osteoarthritis. Let me make sure I am sure that I'm sure. Yep, osteoarthritis, ankylosing, and spondylitis. So a lot of those autoimmune related itises, yes, fibromyalgia typically affects them. Fibromyalgia, it affects 2 to 6 million Americans. It is more common in women, and it is considered a chronic pain disorder that's usually triggered by stress, high levels of traumas. And this is something that in my book, The Trinity of Healing, I aim to speak about. That's why in writing the book, I encompassed 3 parts: the mind, body, and the soul. And then I spoke on the spirit first and the mind and how those both affect the body. So the reason why I spoke so highly on the belief system of the spirit and then getting into the mind and mental health is because of things like this. A lot of autoimmune and chronic pain disorders are specifically triggered by stress and traumatic events. As a Black woman in America, we are 2 to 3 times more likely to develop autoimmune and chronic pain disorders as a result, which is why I've been speaking, and I'm going to continue speaking on this and being an advocate for us taking our lives back holistically, taking our minds back, taking our spirits back, and taking care of all of that before we take care of the body, which will, according to what the doctors are going to give you, and I can say this from experience, what they're going to give you is some type of prescription, which is going to lead you to another type of prescription, which is going to lead you to another type of prescription. Me in particular, my battles with fibromyalgia, how did I know that I had it? I didn't know that I had it until I finally was so inflamed. My inflammatory markers were so high, I was sent to a rheumatologist. A rheumatologist is a doctor that specializes in pain, which means those are the guys who can prescribe you the big things. You know, the things that the rappers talk about, the promethazines and all the Percocets, all of these extremely high narcotics that people are taking for fun. People with fibromyalgia and extreme chronic pain disorders are taking these just so they can get out of bed in the morning without screaming in agony, and it's definitely not a fun thing. It's definitely not a joke. These things are highly addictive, and they're nothing that you want to play with or I advocate for, especially in the Black community. So when I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I was also diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis by way of negation. There is no test for fibromyalgia. All they can do is tell you you have fibromyalgia. They may be able to see you have fibromyalgia doing a procedure called an MRI to test you. They might find something. But this condition is what they call a musculoskeletal, I can't get the word right, a musculoskeletal condition where it's basically chronic widespread pain and agony, okay? It primarily affects your elbows, your knees, and your joints. For some people, my mother, she has hypersensitivity, bruises easily. For other people, the pain ranges in different variations. For me, it was just dull pain, dull spreadness. It is accompanied by chronic fatigue. It is chronically depressing. It accompanies anxiety and depression because you're going to sleep tired and then you wake up tired. You don't want to do anything. And it's very, very hard to lose weight with fibromyalgia because you don't have the energy, which is why myself as a total life changer, I advocate people take some energy supplements with some natural things in it, or detox their body to flush out some of the things that they have in their system which contribute to fibromyalgia, such as high fructose corn syrup, sugar, processed simple starches, gluten, yeast, dairy. These are things that they tell you to not eat with fibromyalgia. These are things that contribute to inflammatory things in the body, which will slow you down. And when you're already having chronic fatigue, like people with fibromyalgia have, it's very, very, very easy to get fat, get overweight. The average fibromyalgia patient is on average 30 pounds overweight, which is why this year was such a big deal for me, because I lost 30 pounds of weight. Not a coinkydink that I was having the worst symptoms of my life when I was overweight. So fibromyalgia, it's for me, I basically thought that I was having PMS, but it was such an extended period of PMS. It was like I'm getting this lower pain in my back, like, oh, you know, this happens to me. It's been happening to me since I was 16. And the guy I was dating at the time was like, hey, you know, you've been saying this for like weeks now. Are you sure? I'm like, dang. You know, I knew I wasn't pregnant, so I was like, what the heck is going on? I've been having this pain for a while. And eventually the pain would affect me in my elbows. It would affect me in my knees. On top of the psoriatic arthritis, I was already having swelling and inflammation and fluid buildup in my knees. It is usually accompanied also with tinglings in the body. I didn't even know that. I would randomly, like, my toes would go numb from time to time. I didn't know that was fibromyalgia. I would have the chronic fatigue. Now that one, it was unavoidable. Like, I would go to sleep for 14 hours and still be yawning all day. I didn't know what the heck was wrong with me, but you know, I thought, oh, it's just my PMS. It does seem like it's very easy for women to overlook their fibromyalgia symptoms, because those were my PMS symptoms, aside from just the overall body agony and soreness that I was having. So basically, when we were getting to the bottom of why I was having arthritic issues, we found that I had fibromyalgia. And I learned a lot about this and was able to reverse my symptoms holistically, which is what I wanted to do. A lot of people who wind up with fibromyalgia, as you see in the YouTube, the Facebook groups that I'm in, they wind up on chronic pain medicines. It's not like a condition where they can even test you. But I just wanted to say big shout outs to the fibromyalgia warriors out there. Take care of yourself. Keep your diets anti-inflammatory. Stay moving. Stay up. And if you know somebody with fibromyalgia or chronic pain disorders or autoimmune disease, give them some Purple Hearts today. Love you guys.